Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for biz owners by business owners who want to share their knowledge, experience, and expertise to help the growth and knowledge of the new businesses that are out there. Today, we are going to be talking with Bernadette Geyer. And as a copy editor and translator, she helps small business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives make sure they're understood by the people they want to reach. She's the author of the book Branding for Beginners: Why Consistency is the Key to Creating and Maintaining a Brand Image, which evolved out of her many years of working on marketing copy for small businesses, nonprofits, and entrepreneurs. Welcome, Bernadette.
Thank you, Nancy. It's great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I know that copywriting is the bane of my existence. I am a writer, but I'm a technical writer. I write, you put square peg into square hole, I don't do the copywriting, and it gets me really frustrated because I'll think over and over again, if I only had the right words.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think one thing that might help me in my work as both a copy editor and copywriter is that I'm also a creative writer. So I have actually been writing poetry and fiction for quite a long time. So I already kind of have in my mindset these ways that I can make things concise, or even just like playing around with words. In poetry, there's a lot that comes along with, rhyme and alliteration. And I tend to try to bring that into the writing that I do, especially as far as the copywriting.
Well, and I think for me, and I am a writer as well. I've got a couple of books that are published. I have another one coming up. But that to me is different. That to me is just letting go and putting down words, and that's it. When I'm trying to write copy for my website or a Facebook ad or something like that, I'm thinking, I've got to do this so that the people I want to see it are going to go, oh my God, I need to have that now. And I that's different,
Yes, that's true. That's true. It's definitely not like writing a poem or writing a short story where you have a lot of space. Definitely on social media or in advertisements or on your website, it needs to be more concise. And so some tricks that I use is, for me, editing is really the biggest part of copywriting. You write everything out at once at the first, and stream of thought. You just sit down and write everything that you can, everything that you want to get into whatever it is you're writing for your website. And then you go back and then, you really use an eye to remove extra words. You make things as tight as possible. You think of how you can say something in the fewest words, but every word has to count. I even wrote an article for writers about, make every word count. And instead of taking 3 words to say, he slowly sat down on the chair, it can be, he collapsed. Using action words. And this is where sort of I bring in these elements from, the creative writing to use, action words. I mean, everybody's used to using action words for their resumes. I mean, that's something that we're all automatically taught to do. But it's similar, when you're writing text for your website or writing advertisements for your business, you want action words. You want no extra verbiage in there. You want things to sound nice as well. When you write something down, you think about not only how it sounds to you, but think about how the person will read it, and to read it out loud to yourself. And sometimes when two words just kind of clash against each other, if you read something out loud and the words clash together, if a person is reading that in their mind, it's going to be a little bit of a stumble for them. So you want to really take your time in the revision process for your copywriting on your website, as well as any other writing that you do.
Got a new little kitten here. She won't leave me alone.
Oh, no.
That all makes a lot of sense. And, I understand that. And I've just recently started using, just in my regular writing that I do, I've been using Grammarly, because I don't have to stop and think about what I'm saying. I just do it and let them fix it for me. But it's really important in anything that we do when we're doing it for business that we make sure we're saying it correctly. We're saying it so that other people reading it are going to be excited about it. And what we were going to be talking about today is branding.
Yes.
And the copywriting and everything is so important in branding too. So what everybody has a different understanding of what branding is. Talk to us about branding.
For me, I know that there are people who focus solely on how you will come up with your own brand image. And this is really, going into what is your story? What is your mission? Who is your target audience? And what I like to do for getting the idea of how I want to brand my own business is starting with the target client. And one exercise that I would love to do with people that I actually mentioned this in my book is to even do something as simple as make a collage that has pictures of people who fit into your target market. And once you have like this composite of images and this collage, you can keep it on the bulletin board in front of you at your desk, so that when you're writing something, you can look at that and look at the person that you are writing to, and it'll help you really figure out the tone that you're going to need, that you want to use in talking with them. And it's so many things that you were just talking about with the writing process. And you mentioned that you use Grammarly, and it's funny because I do tend to have as my tagline, "No app can replace me." but but Grammarly is really good for when you want to make sure that you've got everything, grammatically correct and all of that. And with the branding, where I talk about consistency, and this is something that you work with in a branding template, you write down the ways that you like to say things. I'm sure that sometimes when you write something, you'll come up with a phrase and you'll be like, that's it. That's the phrase. I love this. You're on that day, your brain is firing on all cylinders, and it just comes out right. And then, 2 months later, you've got to write something similar, and you're like, oh my God, how did I say that last time? And that's why in the book, I talk about how important it is to write, to make a template for yourself, to make a brand style guide where you write down these ways that you have come up with that, like, you really think you hit the nail on the head with that phrase, and you want to say it that way all the time. And that's really how you start branding yourself. I mean, to me, branding is just the way you present yourself and the way people see you. And if you are presenting yourself one way in this situation and a different way in this situation. If you talk formally in conferences, but your social media posts are all very casual and slangy and full of emojis, then there's going to be a disconnect in when those people go to visit your website later on. You give them your business card at the conference, they go to your website and they're like, this doesn't seem like the same person that I talked to at this conference. Or, even vice versa, you're very casual at the conference and then they come across a website that's very formal and full of jargon and, really, massive words that, everybody has to look up to figure out what they're talking about. So to me, branding is just making sure you present yourself consistently so that people have the ability to remember you. You want to make it easy for people to remember you. And really that's, to me, what the focus of branding is.
I've got a question that came up like that because obviously that makes a lot of sense. And if someone's going to buy from you, everything we all teach and have learned is that you have to form a relationship. People have to know, like, and trust each other. And you've got to show your real person coming through. As a copywriter whose responsibility it is, if I were to turn over my website to you to rewrite, you need to know me, right?
Yes.
You need to understand who I am so that you can write in my voice.
Oh, yes.
I have had so many people, because I've hired people in the past to write the text for my website for me.
Yes.
And then I'll talk to someone and they'll say, I love talking with you. You're lively. You have such a wonderful personality. You this, you that, and the other thing. And then I look at your website and that's not you. So when we're hiring someone, what do we need to look for to make sure that we hire the right person?
I would definitely look at other projects they've worked on. I remember back in the, it was, maybe the 80s or 90s, whenever there was a big theatrical production, Stomp, and suddenly there was all of this stomping going on in advertisements. And all of the advertisements just started to sound the same. They all used like this same trick. And if an advertising, or, if a copywriter, if everything they've written for other clients all kind of sounds the same, then that's definitely a problem. Now, everything that you write for yourself should definitely all sound the same. And everything that the copywriter is writing for their own business should sound the same. But their clients' projects should not sound like the copywriter's projects. The copywriter's projects should never, ever be confusable with their own, as a copywriter, I don't want to write in my own voice. And one of the ways that, because I also do translation as well, and that too, I want to get the person's voice when I'm translating. I don't want to just translate it into English and have it sound like me, say, like I wrote the book. I use their language, their tone of voice. And when you're looking for a copywriter, you definitely want to see their past work, see what they've done, and compare those to see if they all sound the same, or if the person has a variety of voices that they're able to write in, that they can write in your voice and they will pay attention to you. I would say also, see what questions they ask. If they want to communicate solely via email and they don't want to talk to you either via Zoom or Skype or on the phone, that would be a red flag to me. Because definitely one of the ways that I get to know the voice of my clients is by talking with them.
by hearing their voice.
Yes, exactly. And I keep that in my brain. And, the great thing about a lot of the people that I work for is, maybe they're professional speakers and they have videos of them doing speeches or keynote talks. And I can watch those and I can just get their pacing and their voice and their inflections and the types of words that they use. And really, if a copywriter is not willing to do that in advance of trying to do some work for you, then that would be a huge flag for me.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's really important. I talk about brand all the time, and I talk about how this my brand is kind of funny, it's kind of silly. I go around talking about flying pigs,
Right?
and things like that. And I have a pink wig that I wear sometimes, and all that. So I totally believe that when you run a business, it has to be fun at least part of the time. Otherwise, why do it? You know?
Yeah.
And so then when you read my website, not so much anymore because I've had some work done on it, but when you read the website and you've got these, yeah, 13 and 15 letter long words in there, and it sounds like I'm writing my dissertation
Oh, right.
rather than a marketing piece.
Right.
That gets so frustrating. And I know with the guide that you're talking about, one of the things I do, because I have issues with short-term memory and things like that, and I can't, how did I say that last time? What am I doing? I have a little program that resides open on my computer at all time called Sticky Notes.
Ah,
And I have that phrase right there in my sticky notes. So all I have to do is go in. If somebody says, "Hey, what is it that you do?" I just go in and copy that phrase, pull up sticky notes, and I've got it. And I don't have to worry about what it is I'm saying because I can say the same thing,
oh yeah,
but I can't say it in the same words.
exactly.
So
Or, like the elevator pitch, you've only got 20 seconds to say what you want to say.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know if you get involved in this part of the whole brand strategy or not, but some people will get into, like I just said, the pink hair and, and special fonts and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And actually, I don't talk about like the way to choose fonts necessarily, although that is important. I mean, if you are a law firm, you're not going to be using Comic Sans on your
Nobody
website.
should use Comic Sans.
But yeah, I mean, even the types of fonts that you use are really also key to branding. I mean, if you think about the McDonald's M, if it had serifs on it, you'd be like, what? What is that? And even with companies that have a specific font for their logo. Like I remember Instagram and Google both have gone through changes with the type of font they use for their logo. And, I think it was when Google changed theirs, everybody flipped out.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not saying that one has to be wedded to the font forever, but, it is something that, again, consistency. When people see that it's a big yellow M, they know what to expect. When they see the letters UPS in white on a brown background, they know what to expect. So, it's having that kind of recognition when somebody sees something from that comes from you or is posted on social media by you, and it's your special calligraphy font that you chose. They, boom, okay, I know this is Nancy.
And that is so important. It's really important to be able to Nike, the swoosh,
Yep.
those things. My husband and I were traveling this last weekend, and I don't go anywhere that I don't have a really tall tumbler of something to drink because I have bad throat and I need to always be drinking something. And we forgot to fill the tumbler before we left the hotel.
Ah,
So and the hotel was right off of the main highway, so we didn't drive through town or anything. We just got right on the highway and headed for home. We were looking off into the distance everywhere we went to see if we could see that big yellow M so that we could pull off and get something to drink. It was the most important part of the drive until we
yeah,
finally found the McDonald's.
yeah.
And I'm sure we passed Burger Kings and Arby's and everything, and I'm sure we did,
Hmm.
but we were focused, and I don't even like McDonald's.
Right.
We were focused in on finding that M because we knew what it was.
Yeah.
And I think as a business owner, it's really important for us to try to figure not only the tone of voice, but to figure out what is it that is going to have people recognize us and know
Yeah,
that they want to work with us.
exactly. And it's unique to you. You can't copy, like, oh, I really like that Nancy wears a pink wig sometimes, and that makes her stand out. So I'm going to start wearing a pink wig sometimes. It's like, it doesn't work that way. It has to be something that works for you. And like for me, I've got my metallic silver Doc Martin boots. you know, that's how people see me on the street, how people recognize me from a distance.
Hmm.
That's my big yellow M.
Yep, there you go. Well, and that's what we want, especially if those signs resonate with people. If I see a big yellow M and I'm going to go totally in the opposite direction, we don't want that. So
Right.
we want those symbols and the wording and everything that we're doing within our brand, we want that to resonate with people so that they say, I can remember, most people aren't old enough to remember this anymore that I do business with, but there used to be an ad for V8, the tomato juice.
Oh, yes, yes.
And the ad was somebody sitting there seeing something and eating all this food and not getting as much nutrients as if they'd had the can of V8. And
Right.
they slap their head and they
Oh,
go, oh, I should have had a V8.
yeah.
You know, that's what we want for our businesses. We want people. How many years has it been since that's been a marketing campaign? And I still remember it to this day.
Oh, yeah.
you know
Yep.
we need to figure those things out for our businesses so that people want what it is that we have to offer.
Exactly. And for for me, I've helped. I also work part time as head of communications for a nonprofit called Hostwriter, and one of the first things I did was to help them come up with a mission statement. Did a full day workshop to come up with a mission statement, and it has to be, it had to be really short, and it was, what are we? Who do we do? What do we do? Who do we do it for? And what is it? How does it help them? And I did a very similar thing for my own mission statement. I help you make sure you're understood by the people you're trying to reach or the people you want to reach. Really, a mission statement is about the value that you are bringing to the customer, because maybe your mission is, I want to make I want to make a lot of money selling these products. That's not going to attract somebody to your business. Your mission is to save the world. That's a bit general. It's looking at that collage of your target customer and thinking, what problem am I solving for them? What am I helping them to do that they couldn't do without my services or my product, whatever it is I'm selling.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. I can remember a training program I was doing years ago, and we were talking about mission statements. And mission statements are usually, you said, very short. They're a couple of sentences, maybe a very short paragraph at the most, and they're filled with everything that you just said. This woman was absolutely determined that her mission statement had to be 2 pages long.
Oh,
And when
wow.
I was trying to explain to her that that wasn't a mission statement, she got mad and got up and huffed out, and I've never seen her since because she was
Interesting.
so determined that that's what a mission statement was. It was a business plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can have a vision for your business. There's all the background and all the, what I want to accomplish in life stuff. But, really, you want someone else to be able to recite that back to you.
Yep. And it needs to resonate. And if it takes 2 pages of reading this, you're going to be saying, what are they trying to say? What are they actually trying to do? Where is it buried?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And it needs to be clear and concise. And
Yeah.
my mission statement is to help women with chronic illnesses run their business more successfully while dealing with the crap they put up with,
Yeah. Yeah. And that, in there gives the value that you're bringing to the client.
Yeah. And I probably need work on that, so maybe we can talk off camera. But it's a start.
Right, right. But yeah, you don't have to list every single service that you provide. I mean, I have actually gone through, oh my goodness, so many iterations of my own business and was doing online webinars for a while, and I was doing website maintenance for a while, and I was doing social media advising for a while. And the list of services on the header of my website just kept getting bigger and bigger. But you don't want to pack every single thing that you do into your mission statement. You have to think slightly more generally. I mean, it still needs to be specific, but you can't just pack it full of every single service that you provide.
Because you water it down when you do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, if that's another thing that people find really difficult to take a bite out of and get is what really is a target market, which is what you were talking about a little bit ago, and who's your ideal client. And I just did a workshop a couple of weeks ago where I went around the room and I asked everybody to tell me who their ideal client was and who their target market was. And it was, we got into this whole conversation about this one person did skincare, and her ideal client was anyone with skin.
Oh.
And so I'm going, well, let's narrow that down a little bit more. Your particular product that you sell has, even though it's organic and natural and all of this and all of that, it has a scent to it. I'm not your ideal client. I have asthma. I can't get anywhere near anything with a scent to it. I've got skin,
Right.
but I'm not your target market. Don't. But, if I narrow it down to only those people who don't have asthma, I may lose sales. But so they don't realize that once you become more clear, have more clarity on what you're selling, who you're selling it to, you actually start making more money.
Yes.
But again, I
Yes.
think that comes into everything you do and say and the words you use and the fonts you choose. And
Exactly. Exactly. And the places where you post. So like the Facebook groups that you're in, if you are marketing your skincare products or your copywriting services, and well, let's focus on one. If you're marketing your skincare products and you go on a Facebook group for single women, okay, well, okay, that might be a market, but is that really where they want to be approached by you for your products? Especially if it's like single 20 somethings. And the way that you present your products is with very loopy fonts and very springtime fresh slogans. You got to look at where you are broadcasting your message. What is your message? And is it the right place for you to focus your energy? Because, in addition to being afraid to losing sales by trying to be everything to everyone, you're also spreading yourself out very thin. And if, there's that saying, if you try to be everything to everyone, you'll be nothing to no one. And it's really also helping you to focus your energies somewhere. And that's not saying that you're never going to get any asthmatics who maybe are okay with scents, but you need to focus your own efforts to where they're more effective. And I've become a really huge fan of the 80-20 rule. And that has also helped me increase my own success rates, because I looked at where my most of my income was coming from, which services were bringing in the most income for me. And the other stuff, I was spending a lot of time maintaining this little niche website or this little niche newsletter for things that weren't even actually making any money. And by cutting those things out and focusing my time on the services and efforts that I was doing that were bringing in income, I was able to be more effective with my marketing. And really, that has actually freed up some of my spare time. I used to spend a lot of time writing newsletter articles and blog posts. And so I have a really nice backlog of blog posts, and I can probably share them till 2100, and nobody will ever remember seeing the same blog post twice.
Yeah.
But did those really bring it, did doing that many, was that really necessary? And the thing is, to save yourself effort frees up your time to do other things. And now I can, spend more time with my family. I don't have to, I can go to my daughter's ice hockey game instead of being like, oh, I have to stay home and write a blog post.
Well, and that's really what you want when you're in business for yourself, right? You want
Yes.
the ability to be able to go to your daughter's programs. You want, but you still want to be making a good quality living. But if you're spinning your wheels just doing everything and it's not accomplishing anything, you're going to become frustrated, you're going to become depressed, you're not going to be able to go see things. It's hard.
Exactly.
So we're getting a little bit towards the end of our call, which is it's exciting. We've had so much good conversation.
Yeah, the time is
Talk to us talk to us quickly about what is something that you're doing right now that the listeners might be interested in.
Actually, regarding all those old blog posts that I wrote, I do have a lot that are on the topic of improving your copy for your and the content for your business writing, just little fun grammar tricks or little insights to help you improve writing. And I've been collecting those together to assemble a book of that. So that's one thing that I am working on. I've also got a workshop coming up. I'm going to be helping helping a client with websites. She's got several websites, and she's thinking of reorganizing them and having them translated into English from German. So I will be working with her to workshop and focusing on the branding side of the websites, making sure that each unique business has its own unique branding and a distinct goal, a distinct target. So that's a big thing I've got coming up in a couple of weeks.
Sounds exciting. Do you have anything that you are offering to clients right now? Do you have a workshop that's open for my listeners to join in? If someone wants to have you look at their website, how do they get in touch with you? What do you have going on there?
Well, right now I've been focusing on copy editing and translating. And this is really, I know this time of year, everybody's getting their websites ready for the holiday shopping season. So I've been talking a lot about, doing website checkups for the holiday season. And a website checkup, could just be me, looking at the text to make sure everything's clear, me checking the links to make sure that all the links are working, or checking, the branding if everything is consistent for the branding on the website. But as for workshops, I do have one ongoing workshop that is a independent study. It's one-on-one focus with people who are writing books, and it's really to help them do a book style guide. So it helps them stay consistent with a book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. It's the way that they can make sure that everything is consistent within their book, from formatting to the way they refer to people's names, whether they're talking about the board of directors for a company or presidents of their trade associations, or just like their main protagonist, making sure they use the same nickname for their protagonist throughout the entire book. So that's one workshop that I do have ongoing, but the rest is really more individual work, one-on-one, either copy editing or translating from German to English.
If someone decides, wow, I really need to have my website looked at, I need to hire Bernadette, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on the internet at Bernadette Geyer, Bernadette Geyer at gmail.com if they want to email me, or GeyerEditorial.com. And that's my editorial services website. They can check out testimonials from past clients and examples of past past projects that I've worked on. So GeyerEditorial.com.
One last thing, if there's something that you really want to leave us with, what would that be?
Consistency. I think I always talk about consistency is the key to really putting yourself out there, whether it's being consistent in the number of times that you post per week, being consistent in the way you post, being consistent in the words you use, being consistent in the way you present yourself, and being consistent about showing up and doing what you got to do every day.
That's important. Very good. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and really appreciate it. Guys, I hope you were listening, taking notes, learning some things. really important stuff we talked about that as a business owner you need to know and implement. You can hear this and all of the podcasts for Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly on Thursday evenings at 5 p.m. Eastern at flyingpigs.podbean.com. And we'd love to have you download, subscribe, share with friends and colleagues. Let us know if there are topics out there that you would like us to talk about. And let me know if there's people out there that you would like us to talk to. So until we meet again, everyone, I hope you are productive and get out there and soar higher. Take care, y'all. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.